mitzvah, and we decided to keep it, and ended up working out pretty well. So just a couple of words, and we really apologize. We're still keeping our masks on. Tristen will be able to keep his mask, or people that are coming up to the mic. And that's just an added layer of safety precaution. We've been in touch with, actually Bruce was just telling me, our synagogue president over here, who was our usher, and Sherry Joe, was just saying, Gail Burstein, our health advisor, our health person, said we still should have our masks on indoor for gatherings. And bathrooms are out the door to your right. You'll see it as soon as you go through the door. There's several bathrooms there. The prayer book we have, if you're unfamiliar, a lot of you do know from Violet's bat mitzvah not too long ago, that the prayer book opens the opposite direction. If you're not used to it, it goes from right to left. And so just look for the picture on the front. That's the front of it. Tristen will be leading the majority of our prayers today. He will be reading from the Torah and speaking to us, and really showing all that he's learned during this time in preparation for his bar mitzvah. There's Cantor Frank over here, and I'm Rabbi Alex, and Harvey Horowitz will also be part of the service. And Bruce Korus, I already mentioned, is our synagogue president. Let's see, I think we're still waiting for some uncles to show up. Are they here? And just so you know, so you have a visual understanding of where we are, the camera back there, that is our live stream. And actually, I believe that they've already joined us. But for those of you joining, we're glad to have you. We're going to get started in a couple minutes. That is where that's why Tristen is set up where he is. He's very much closer to the camera. And when you're coming up, for those of you that do have speaking parts, if you could speak into the mics, because not only will we hear better here, also it is the only way for people that are watching virtually to attend. Okay, wonderful. Okay, then I think we're just about ready. Cantor, is there anything I'm forgetting that we should tell them?
I can't think of anything.
I think we're good. For those of you, the prayer book is in Hebrew, English, and transliteration. Transliteration is the cheat notes. So if you don't know the Hebrew, that means it'll have the English letters with it, and that works great. And even if you don't open the prayer book, we also have a little pamphlet that has some information about what a bar mitzvah is. Okay, I think we're ready. So I'm going to start you off to get you ready for Tristen with the traditional words that we say. And if you don't come away with anything else, if you just say this, you're golden. You can go into any synagogue almost any time, and they will think you just are perfectly belong there. Okay, so this is Shabbat Shalom. All right, so I'm going to say it, and you just repeat. It just means a good Sabbath, and that's a traditional greeting. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, perfect. Okay, we're going to invite Tristen up on page 288. And again, he's over here on the microphone here. This is part of our COVID spacing as well. 288, Tristen is going to be reading from his prayer book, May My Life. Tristen, just move your microphone a little closer to
May my life be one a link in a chain of goodness, as I say the prayers of my ancestors. Help me recall their devotion, their faithfulness, their joy and suffering, which are now in every word. Holiness is my heritage, may I be worthy of it. May our tradition live in me, and pass from me to generations I shall never know, enriched by the truth I have found, and the good deeds I have done. So may I fulfill my task on earth and receive my blessing. And when the service ends and the prayers have ceased, help me bring their spirit into the world in which I live. May I love God above all, my neighbor as myself, and be a living witness to the truth that never changes.
And right at the bottom, we have Modeh Ani.
Modeh Ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shechach chizarta, binishmati bechemla, rabba emunatecha.
One of the most special things of that prayer that Tristen just recited, that is the prayer we say when we open our eyes in the morning and we say, thank God we're alive, thank God we're still okay. One of the great things that happens at a bar mitzvah is the bar mitzvah receives a talit. That's the prayer shawl that I am wearing right now. It is a fringe garment, and the requirement to wear this actually is in one of the prayers that Tristen will be leading later. For me, the corners of it are a reminder to take care of the corners, the things we often forget in our life. Tristen picked out a wonderful talit that I'm excited to see. It's sometimes called talit or talis, either one is appropriate. And he is going to be presented by this new talit, his new prayer shawl, by his grandparents, Tom and Carolyn and Carrie Moscato. So invite them up, and they're going to put it over his shoulders as Tristen leads the prayer on the bottom of 289. Tristen, whenever you're ready.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahit atev bat tzitzi.
Blessed are you, God, King of the universe, who sanctifies us with commandments and commands us to wrap ourselves with the fringe talit. As this is his very first time wearing it, there is a special prayer called the Shekianu. It can be found in your prayer book on page 648.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'gianu lazman hazeh.
Amen. Bless you, God, who brings us life, allows us to be present here and arrive at this very moment, and we say, Amen. So I didn't also say that the talit is a sign of Jewish adulthood, which is what Tristen becomes today. So I invite Carrie and Tom to sit down, and we are now going to proceed through our service on page 313. We have our call of community, the Baruch Hu, and Cantor Frank will lead us. Please rise, please, if you're able.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed.
Tristen will continue with the words of the Shema, page 318.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, Mahuto, Le'olam Va'ad.
You may be seated. Tristen will continue with the English reading on the bottom of 319.
Love Adonai your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all your mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God.
We continue with the Micha Mocha, a section of the Crossing of the Sea, on page 322, and Cantor Frank will lead us.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neta b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele, shir chadasha shebechu gevulim לשמך שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמלכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. זו ישראל כמו בעזרת ישראל ותקנו בך יהודה וישראל גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני
We invite you to rise. It's at this time we have some private, silent devotion. It's so important to pause, to think, to reflect. If you want to follow in the Hebrew or the English, it begins on page 323 and will proceed till page 337, or just take your own time, and whenever you're ready, you may be seated. Page 337, Oseh Shalom, our prayer for peace, and Tristen will lead us.
Oseh Shalom b'mromav, uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, v'imru, amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
Kol Yisrael, Vimru, Vimru, Amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, all Israel, and all who inhabit the world, and we say, Amen. It is at this point we turn to our Torah service, which can be found on page 366. Our Torah scrolls are our most valuable possessions in our synagogue. They contain the 5 books of Moses, symbolically passed down from us from Mount Sinai thousands of years ago to Moses and all the way through the generations. We are going to assemble the generations that are included in Tristen's life right beside him. And I'm going to encourage Sharon to help me take the lead here. We need Tristan's siblings, Violet, Leah, and Oliver. And we need his parents, Sean and Sharon. And we need his grandparents, Tom, Carrie, Stu, and Jean. So if you could stand over on the right of him, we're going to make a line of transmission, all the things that he's been passed on through the generations to him that we symbolically hand over. Each of us is never alone. We have so much knowledge that is passed down to us through human history, but most especially through our family. And I think this is the most important part of this. We're going to have Sharon come behind all of you and grab the Torah scroll. Perfect. And Cantor is going to sing Ledor Vador from generation to generation.
Ledor vador,
Ledor Vador,
ledor vador,
Ledor Vador,
ledor vador nagir god lecha. Ledor vador,
Ledor Vador,
ledor vador,
Ledor Vador,
ledor vador nagir god lecha. Ki melech gadol, gadol v'kadosh, v'kadosh v'kadosh ata. Yanalai, yanalai, yanalai. Ledor vador,
Ledor Vador,
ledor vador,
Ledor Vador,
ledor vador nagir god lecha. Ledor vador,
Ledor Vador,
ledor vador,
Ledor Vador.
ledor vador nagir god lecha.
We invite you to rise, and Tristen is going to lead for us with the Torah in his hands, the prayer starting with the Shema responsively. All right, Tristen, we're ready for 366.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadvu Adonai iti unaramama Shemo. Yakdav.
At this point, Sharon will take the Torah, we'll put it back in its holder. And we're going to invite the family to sit back down. Just make sure to let Sharon past you. And we're going to invite Tristen actually over to the Torah table. He's going to switch over to the other mic. And I don't think you need your prayer book yet. Why don't you leave that there? We'll bring it over for your blessing a little bit. What Tristen will be doing right now, you may be seated, is really the most important thing that he's doing. He's going to be reading from the scroll, something that he studied for months to be able to do. He has to not only be able to see and read the Hebrew, but it does not have any vowels, so it's quite difficult and challenging. And so it's wonderful to have Tristen be able to read today. Tristen, why don't you take off the cover? There's a very special Torah that you have in front of you. This is the Torah that comes passed down to you from the generations that your mom and your uncles all read from. It is the Torah of the South Towns. And Tristen, if you could unlatch it there. The Torah has a special belt just to keep it tight. And why don't you open it up to make sure you got the right place. And then I'm going to encourage you to look in the bag, which is all wrapped up over there. And you will find what's called a yad. Why don't you pull that out and show everyone? This is from your religious school and all the years that you studied. A yad is a special pointer that we use so that we don't have to touch the Torah. And why don't we put the bag underneath now? Okay, Tristen, do you have the right place there? Okay, so we are going to be inviting up first your grandparents and uncles. Your maternal grandparents. I'm going to invite up Tom and Carrie, Michael, Jonathan, and Matthew. If you could all come up to where Tristen is standing. They will be reciting the first blessing over the Torah. And I also need to point out that Harvey Horowitz over here, why don't I invite you up to the bima? Harvey has been Tristen's teacher, as well as his tutor for the Torah reading. And Harvey is going to be serving as a gabbai. A gabbai is the person that will help out Tristen. So if Tristen has an issue or needs support, Harvey is there for him. And we are reading from Numbers 30, verse 2. For those of you not on the front row, there might be books underneath called the Hertz. What page are we on, Harvey?
702.
So it's not a prayer book. It's a different type of book. Harvey, hold up yours so you can see it. It looks like that. So if you have it underneath, you can follow along. It's 702. We're starting from Numbers 30, verse 2. All right, so when you all have, Tristen has shown you where he's reading. We are ready. Yamdu, grandparents and uncles, Lalia, Harishona. Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed. Amen.
Amen. Vayelber Moshe el Rashi Hamatot Lifnei Israel Lemor Zeh Hadavar Asher Tziva Adonai
Ve'ishava Shavua Lesor Isa Al Nafsho Lo Yachel Devaro Kehol Hayotze Mipiv Yaseh Ve'isha Kitidor Neder Wadanai Va'asra Isar Beveit Aviha Bin Urecha.
Now we have the second blessing. And Carrie, just make sure the microphone's in front of you. Why don't you move that a little closer to you?
He doesn't sing this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet b'chayei olam nebrahim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Torah.
Amen. You may be seated. And now we are going to be calling up Tristen's parents, Sean and Sharon, for the second Aliyah. Oh, Violet as well. Thank you. And Oliver and Leah, if you want to join too, feel free.
Baruch et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. V'shema aviha at nidra v'asara asher asara al nafsha v'hacharish la aviha v'kamu kol nidarecha v'chol isar asher asara al nafsha Yakum V'im heini aviha otah B'yam sham'o kol nedarecha V'asarecha asher asra al nafsha lo yakum V'adonai yizlach la Ki heini aviha otah V'im hayotia li'ish Unadarecha alecha O miftah sifatecha Asher asra al nafsha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Tristen will now have his own aliyah. We are on chapter 30, verse 5, and of the book of Numbers, and we are going to invite everyone to rise. We have a very special way of announcing Tristen's own aliyah, the time where he will say these very important blessings his relatives have already said. And Harvey is going to be announcing his name for the very first time, Kishoni Shmuel. And what we're going to all do is we're going to put our fist up like this. Okay, and we're going to go chazak. It's a hard word. Chazak. Let's try it again. Chazak. And that means strength. And we're going to do that right at the end when after Harvey announces, and just on my signal.
Yamod, 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 Habachur Habar Mitzvah, Kishon Shmuel, Ben Avraham, Visharon Gittel, La'aliyah HaShalishit.
Chazak!
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amin V'natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
V'shema aviha at nidra v'asara asher asara al nafsha v'hechrishla aviha v'kamu kol nidarecha v'chol isa asher asara al nafsha yakum v'im heini aviha ota B'yom Shamo kol nidarecha v'asarecha asher asara al nafsha yakum v'im heini Vadonai
Yislach la.
Vadonai yizlach la
Kiheni aviha. Give Tristen a chance to find a place. It's easy to lose the place.
Yeah, even rabbis do.
Even teachers.
Tristen, if you need to start over, it's okay. Because there's no punctuation in the Torah, it's extremely difficult to find the right place.
Guess I'm gonna start over.
Okay, start all over, no problem.
V'shema aviha at nidra v'asara asher asara al nafsha v'hechrishla aviha v'kamu kol nidarecha v'chol isa asher asara al nafsha yakum v'im heini aviha ota b'yam shamo kol nidarecha v'asarecha asher asara al nafsha lo yakum v'adonai yizlach la ki heini aviha ota v'im hayo tiyeh le'ish unadarecha alecha o miftah sifatecha asher asara al nafsha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'heyeh olam natan b'tohenu Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Tristen, if you could close the Torah and just put the Torah cover on top of it. That's good. That's good. Everyone may be seated. Misha Barak Avatenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Yimotenu Sarah Karachev Alea. May the Holy One who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, Bless Tristen. Think about one word you want to bless him with. Strength. Courage. Love. And we say Amen. All right, now we need, Tristen, we need your younger siblings. Leah and Oliver are going to pass around candy. This is not candy to eat. Tristan's going to come over here to the middle of the room. You can leave your yad. And this candy is to be softly tossed at Tristen here. Now, Tristen, you got to stay in one place here. This is a sign of sweetness. These are special gushers that Joanne picked out. Apparently they have some kind of oozy something in the middle, but they're relatively soft as well. And what we're going to do is we are going to softly toss at him as a way of showing of our satisfaction with his job that he did, and what a wonderful mitzvah commandment this is today, and all the joy that we're feeling right now. And then we'll need some helpers to help pick them up afterwards. So raise your hand if you still need, so Oliver and Leah can pass out it. I don't know if people all the way over here got. Well, looks like they did. Okay, I think we're doing pretty well then. Okay, so when we're all set, does it raise your hand if you still need candy? All right, so Cantor, on Cantor's signal with Simon Tova Mazel Tov, you'll start the throwing.
Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Yehelanu, 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 Uvecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Uvecho Yisrael.
All right, we need the young people to come help take the baskets over there, and let's pick up. This is the fastest cleanup, I always say. So if there's any other young people here that want to help out, please do.
And the candy will be waiting for you on the way out.
Yes. This is exactly how we get them to clean up your room, parents. Just throw the candy in there, and then the room will be clean. It's amazing. All right, we are ready now to symbolically put the Torah away. And we're going to invite Tristen to go back to his other microphone. You're going to need your prayer book. And the other book you can now put underneath if you took out the Pentateuch. We are going to be going in our prayer book to page 374. Actually, we'll invite you to rise for this part. It's a tree of life.
It is a tree of life to those who would fast of it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to those who would fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. It is a tree of life to those who would fast to it, and to all of its supporters are happy. Is a tree of life to those who would fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Is it shalom, 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 shalom.
You may be seated, and we are ready now to hear from Tristen. He's got some words prepared for us about his Torah portion and his bar mitzvah. And Tristen, just make sure you're near the mic and go nice and slow.
My Torah portion is Shabbat Shalom. My Torah portion is a double portion from the book of Numbers. There are 54 Torah portions and only 52 weeks. So sometimes we have to have more than one portion on a Shabbat each week. My portion concludes the book of Numbers. Numbers in Hebrew is Bamidbar, which means wilderness. Being in the wilderness is difficult. The people of Israel have to wait 40 years until they make it to the promised land. This is a time of living in camps and not having a permanent home. My family and I like to camp, and it is fun, but we would not enjoy 40 years of it. My portion ends at the steps of Moab, right in front of the land of Israel. In my portion, they're imagining what it would be like to finally have a permanent home. Also, some topics discussed are vows, which are promises made between a person and God. In the ancient world, they took these vows very seriously. No matter what it was, they had to do it. My portion also talks about the cities of refuge. These are places someone would go if they'd killed somebody by accident. There were 3 different cities, east, north, and south. My Torah portion explains that you could run away to these cities and still be safe. It also talks about the daughters of Zelophehad. These were women whose father died, and they wanted their inheritance back. Back then, just the sons would get the inheritance. Some of the issues from my Torah portion that are important to me are women's rights and homelessness. When a woman takes a vow in the Torah, it is not counted. I believe this is not fair, and that gender should not determine whether or not you are listened to. Homelessness is still an issue going on today. There are 500,000 homeless people in America and 150 million homeless people worldwide. Many of these people are refugees trying to flee dangerous conditions in their home countries. This is wrong. There shouldn't be anyone living on the streets, especially during a pandemic. Now that I am 13, I can speak out about these things, about things I think are wrong. Being homeless takes away most chances of being successful. It also raises mortality rates. This Torah portion has helped me think about what I can do to help around the world. We shouldn't just let the world be the way it is. We have to all believe we can change it. In my family, we stand up for injustice and stand up for people. My Torah portion talks about how the Israelites were in the wilderness while they were fleeing. This brings up the importance of taking care of our natural world. I chose Hawk Creek Wildlife Center as my community service, Mitzvah project, because it is a local wildlife conservancy located about half a mile from my house in East Aurora. They rescue local wild animals, including birds of prey. I'm also selling succulent plants that were donated by a family friend to allow me to raise money for Hawk Creek. They will use that money to continue rehabilitating animals, promoting education to the public. I enjoy gardening, and I keep animals such as cats, dogs, chickens, and fish. In my aquariums, I try to replicate my fish's natural habitat to the best of my ability. I will be attending an environmental studies camp this summer. I intend to continue learning about animals and help to improve and protect their environments for many years to come. Thank you all for coming to my bar mitzvah and for helping me celebrate this special day. I would like to give a big thanks to Cantor Frank for helping me learn my prayers, to Mr. Hortz for meeting with me throughout the year to learn to chant my Torah portion. I also want to thank Rabbi Alex for helping me organize my bar mitzvah and helping me with my speech. I want to thank my parents especially. You're the reason I made it so far in life, and the reason I made it to my bar mitzvah. You fill our home with pets, people, and love. Thank you, Grandma and Grandpa Peck, You'll influence my love for nature. Your house is filled with plants, a pond, a creek, gardens, and a greenhouse. Your library has encouraged my love of reading. Thank you, Mimi and Papa Moscato, for always loving me and helping prepare me for my bar mitzvah, showing me how to become closer to my Jewish heritage. Thanks to all my friends and family. Some came from far away, for making this day great.
All right, so we don't clap here, but we can go like this. Show our appreciation. We're going to have Sean and Sharon say a few words. And so, Tristen, just stay exactly where you are. This is the hardest part. You're going to have to listen to some nice things about you.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for coming. Tristen, your dad and I want to say how proud of you we are today. You have worked really hard to prepare for this day and to lead your bar mitzvah service. We are proud of the young man you are becoming. I wanted to take a minute today to share some of the qualities that make us so proud of you. To begin with, you are very self-driven in your interests and hobbies. We know whenever we hear hammering or smell something weird wafting from the basement or hear a blender turn on at 12:30 in the morning that it's Tristen at it again. We never know what you're inventing or creating. You might have used your cunning skills to hunt for the chocolate chips that Dad hid and decided that you needed to make a giant glob of chocolate chip cookie dough for a midnight snack. Or you might have dissected the motor from my meditative rock waterfall in order to rebuild it to create a natural filter for your fish tank. Sometimes the noises and messes you make drive us crazy, but we truly enjoy your enthusiasm, creativity, ingenuity, and we know that there is no stopping you from conquering any task once you put your mind to it.
You work every day to be a well-rounded, educated, and knowledgeable member of society. You enjoy listening to NPR and learning about what is going on in the world. You know every time we get in the car together and I start singing along to a song on the radio, the station mysteriously changes. And the next thing I know, I'm listening to world news. I'm not sure this
might be more like
this is your
Mom.
This has nothing to do with how loud my car singing, but really, we do truly enjoy how interested you are in what's going on in the world. You are becoming a stronger and more skilled in karate, and we admire that you continue to work to overcome difficulties in order to stick to your obligations. You are always trying to improve yourself and be the best person you can be, even on the days that you are tired and would much rather stay home snuggling a kitten and watching the aquarium videos on YouTube.
We admire your love of animals, particularly our chickens, our dog Apollo, our two older cats, and our newest feline additions, Oreo and Sprinkles. Though life with 7 hens, 1 rooster, a dog, 4 cats, a brother, and 2 sisters can at times be a bit chaotic, we see the best of you when you have your pets nearby. You are such a caring and loving pet brother, and don't worry, we will keep helping you to remember to share the fur babies with your sisters and brother. Tristen, I couldn't talk about you without mentioning your interest in science and focus and determination to problem solve, create, and figure things out, and your never-ending creativity. You are always creating, whether it be with your 3D printer, doing artwork, or you're designing and aquascaping your fish tanks. You are a natural at gardening and horticulture. Our back window is covered in beautiful, healthy green plants. We even have an extremely large lemon tree that you grew from a seed. Since I can't even keep a cactus alive, I am very thankful that I get to be your mom and enjoy the beautiful plants that you so carefully grow. Another funny story is that we are in the middle of remodeling our kitchen and have have been very busy this year. I was really disappointed we weren't able to build, able to plant a garden in our beautiful raised beds this spring that I made my husband labor over last summer. I lost my place. Well, as I was getting ready for the bar mitzvah picnic and straightening our yard, I happened to wander up the hill up by our garden, and apparently someone did plant a garden this year. This spring, Tristen had independently planted a large garden and had been watering and caring for it without me even having known about it. And I even got my first nibble of string beans this week. We have many, many string beans. He planted an entire garden full. So thanks, Tristen.
Your enthusiasm and your hobbies and interests makes it fun for all of us. And you really have such a talent. We can't wait to see what is to come throughout your life. You are a hard worker and have a good heart. We know you will keep learning, growing, striving to be happy, and to make a positive difference in the world. We love you and we are proud of you.
And then also Sean and I wanted to also thank you to Mr. Horowitz, Cantor Frank, Rabbi Alex, and Mimi and Papa for helping with Tristen with his bar mitzvah. And thank you for everyone for being here today.
Wonderful, thank you. And thank you for the thank you as well. Tristen, I'm going to invite you over here to the table, and as I do that, I'm going to invite Bruce Corris, our synagogue president, to come up. On the table over here, with the challah and the grape juice, you don't need anything else. There is a pen and a document, so go on the other side of it. I want you to sign. That is, you're signing to your synagogue all of your future earnings. No. That is your bar mitzvah certificate with a record. So see where it says bar mitzvah? Okay, sign there, and Bruce is going to tell you a little bit about it.
Mazel tov, Tristen and family. First of all, Rabbi finally wised up, because signing the certificate is what makes it official. And he used to have all the kids sign it before. Violet, remember, you signed yours before the ceremony. So once you sign the certificate, it's official. You didn't have to go through with the ceremony. So I said, you got to make them go through with it. So he wised up. So first of all, Mazel tov. You did a wonderful job. Your sister raised the bar a few years ago, and you caught up to it. So Leah and Ali, you've got a big road ahead of you to catch up to these two. We have seen you grow up in this temple. When you guys first started hanging around here, I think you were Ali's size, if not even a little bit smaller. And you have grown to be a young man who clearly has passion about things and is going to do wonderful things, and we can't wait to see just what you do. I have the pleasure of presenting you with some gifts from the temple. The thing wrapped in gold there is your Kiddush cup. That will be yours to use for all your Jewish holidays and special occasions throughout your life. There is your bar mitzvah certificate, which is a lot of families frame it. I think it would look very nice hanging next to one of your grandmother's paintings, for what it's worth. You have a gift certificate for a trip to Israel that we hope you take advantage of someday, and the yad that you've already used to read your double Torah portion. That was a long Torah portion, and that was a gift from the religious school. On behalf of our temple family to your family, Mazel tov. You have been a very important part of our congregation as you've grown up here, and your family has been a big part of what we do here as well. And we look forward to seeing what you do as you move forward. I think we're going to be hearing about you on NPR one day. Mazel tov. And by the way, this is my second Peck B'nai Mitzvah, so we got 2 more to go, so I'm available next time when we reach that stage.
I don't know, maybe you'll still be president. So Tristen, as a reminder for you and all the young people here, you do get a free trip to Israel starting at 18 to 33. Don't give it up. It's called Birthright Israel. Tristen, there's a number of things I noticed today as you were leading our service and doing so beautifully. First of all, when you were reading the Torah, even when you got a little lost, you composed yourself and you found your way, and that's a really important thing. Second, and this is I loved, when you were giving your speech, when you got to the section, and you probably all noticed too, where he said wrong, to right the wrongs, or that's wrong, he said it with oomph. Did you hear that when he said that? You know what I think was part of that? When you come and you have a bar mitzvah, it's about a vow, a neder, like in your Torah portion, a vow that your grandparents, great-grandparents, and extended family made on your behalf, even before you were born, and then extended to your parents and now to you. And I got a sense this year that you understood this was a vow, a promise, and you were going to do it. Despite the pandemic, despite everything that we've gone on this year, you were going to learn and study and make it to this day. That vow is really important. That's a vow that you make for this day, and you've fulfilled that one magnificently. But you have many other vows to fulfill in your life. And I think that you made one in your speech, that you are going to make this world better, that you're going to right the wrongs that are going on in this world. And I think that that is a vow that you started here. Maybe you made it earlier, but you made it publicly now. So years from now, we're going to hold you to it, and we're going to find out the adult Tristen, the official, not just the Jewish adult, the official adult, what you did to fulfill that vow. 20 years from now, I'm going to remind you about that neder, that vow. You'll be an old man at 30-something, 33 years old, and we'll find out what you did and how you did. I think it's important. I'm glad that you did say that. It's been wonderful honor for all of our team to train you and to watch you grow. And we know that the synagogue family is important to you, and we also know what a wonderful support system you have around you that will help to nurture your creativity and everything that you have going forward. So Cantor and I have a special blessing to offer you. We're going to invite everyone to rise for this. And Tristen, why don't you come out in front where you were with the candy sauce, but there's nothing to be thrown. And why don't we have Sharon, Sean, your parents and your siblings come around you and just put your hands on him. We're going to offer you the priestly blessing. See, Violet took it literally there. Okay, Cantor's going to recite the Hebrew, and I'll do the English.
Adonai,
May God bless you and watch over you. May God shine God's light upon you and grant you comfort. May God lift off God's mask to you and grant you and all of us peace. And we say, Amen. After Tom gets the picture, we're going to invite everyone to sit down. And we have a number of readers. And Tom, I think you're going to be the very first one here. He's going to be reading in our prayer book from page 381. This is going to be, you'll see the microphone start up all the way up here, then it's going to go to the next level, and then it's going to go to the bottom level. So we're going to really test. So Tom, put that all the way up there. And Tristen, you can sit down for this part.
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny for worlds still to come. And may you trust in generations past and yet to be. May your heart be filled with intuition and your words be rich in understanding. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue. And your vision clarify a straight path before you. May your eyes shine with the light of Torah, and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom, and your fulfillment be to righteousness. Even as you ever yearn to hear the words of the Ancient One of Holiness.
All right, now we're going to go to the next level. We have Tristan's grandmothers, Grandma Carrie and Grandma Jean. So first, we'll have Carrie come up. They're going to be reading something that's not in our prayer book.
So I'm going to read the first part, and then Jean will read the second part. Bring me good guarantors. From Shir Hashirim Rabbah. In this text, God rejects the ancestors and the prophets, but accepts the children as good guarantors. And this can be said by grandparents. When Israel stood to receive the Torah, the Holy One said to them, I am prepared to give you my Torah. Present to me good guarantors that you will observe in the study of Torah, and I shall give it to you. They said, our ancestors are our guarantors. The Holy One said, your ancestors are not sufficient guarantors. Bring me good guarantors, and I shall give you the Torah. They said, our prophets are our guarantors.
The Holy One said, the prophets are not sufficient guarantors. Bring me good guarantors, and I shall give you the Torah. They said, indeed, our children will be our guarantors. The Holy One said, your children are good guarantors. For their sake, I give the Torah to you.
There's a term for in-laws of the same. We don't have a term in English, but they're called machatonim. That's the Hebrew term of your children's spouse, their children's parents to the relation of each other. We need it in English too. It's a great term. Okay, and finally, our lowest level in terms of height, we have, I believe, Leah and Oliver. Are going to be reading, and they're going to be reading from page 375 in your prayer book.
When Torah entered the world, freedom entered it. The whole Torah exists only to establish peace.
Its highest teaching is love and kindness. What is hateful to you, do not do to any person.
That is the whole Torah. All the rest is commentary. Go and learn it. Those who study Torah are the true guardians of civilization, honoring one another, doing acts of kindness, and making peace. These are our highest duties. But the study of the Torah is equal to them all, because it leads to them all.
Let us learn in order to teach. Let us learn in order to do.
Well done. Yesher koach. You guys can sit down. We're going to invite everyone to rise. We have our prayer Aleinu. It's not enough for us just to pray, but we need to go do good deeds in this world. 586.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני ברך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
You may be seated. We turn to the mourner's Kaddish. Raise your hand if you have anyone that you're thinking about that you want to include. This is where we collect all of those that we're thinking about, and I know for Tristen, you can imagine generations going back that are here to support you, and that we are recognizing them in this prayer. So those of you whose custom it is to rise, on page 598 we have the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'alma divra chirutei v'yamlik malchutei b'chayachon v'yamachon v'chayei t'chol beit Yisrael b'agala v'vizman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach li'olam omei amaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudashah b'richu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran b'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, and we say, Amen. You may be seated. Zikronam livracha. May their memories be for a blessing. So we just have a few more prayers. We're going to turn to 625 for Adon Olam. The cantor will be leading us. This is a traditional final prayer, and then we're going to have a couple of blessings that Tristen and Violet will offer.
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Hashem Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzin Nivra, Liet Nasa,
Liet Nasa,
V'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. So you get the idea. Every time I say that, go back to the chorus, Adon Olam, you repeat after me. Right, Tristen? You gonna do that with me too? Great. ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא אדון עולם והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארת אדון עולם אדון עולם
Adon Olam,
השם הלך
Asher Malach,
בטרם כל
B'terem Kol,
יציר נברא ליית נשא
Liet Nasa,
בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם והוא אחד ואין שני לחמשינו להכבירה אדון עולם בלי ראשית בלי תחתית
Adon Olam.
Hashem Malach.
Asher Malach.
B'terem kol.
B'terem kol.
Yitzini ra li'et nasa.
Li'et nasa.
B'chefso kol. Azai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam. V'hu Eli v'chai kodni. V'tzochev li v'tzara Adon Olam. V'hu nisi umanus li. Minakosi bi'omekra Adon Olam. Adon Olam.
Adon Olam.
Hashem Malach.
Asher Malach.
B'terem kol.
B'terem kol.
Yitzini ra li'et nasa.
Li'et nasa.
B'chefso kol. Azai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam. Biyado avkid ruchi. V'tishan v'yahira Adon Olam. V'im ruchi giviyati. Adonai li v'lo Adon Olam. Adon Olam.
Adon Olam.
Hashem Malach.
Asher Malach.
B'terem kol.
B'terem kol.
Yitzini v'ra li'et nasa.
Li'et nasa.
V'chefso kol. Azai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam.
All right, we're going to invite Violet over here. Why don't you take the Kiddush cup there to say the Borei Pri Agafen, and then Tristen will say the blessing over the bread. And just take the cup and go over to the microphone, Violet. Any microphone, actually. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen l'chaim. All right, now Tristan's going to do the blessing over the bread. So just uncover the bread. You can put the cup back. So take off the cover there. Ooh, look at that beautiful challah. Okay, let's do the hamotzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Lehem min haaretz.
Amen. As you came in peace, may you leave in peace. Please return your prayer books to the back of the sanctuary where the exit doors are. And Mazel Tov, Shabbat Shalom.